arise, arose, arisen.
Most conflicts arise from ignorance. He arose at 9:30 and went out for a walk. New difficulties had arisen.
Awake, awoke, awoken.
She looked and saw that Isaac was asleep and Jack was awake. She awoke to find the streets covered in snow. I was awoken by the telephone.
Be, was, were, been.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I was at work when you called me. The milk has been drunk by the cat.
Beat, beat, beaten.
Jack always beats me at tennis. Brazil beat Germany by 4-1.
Pure gold can be beaten out to form very thin sheets.
Become, became, become.
The child will become an adult. She became angry and sulked all day.
Obesity has become a problem in the United States.
Bear, bore, born.
I can't bear his bad manners anymore. He bore the pain without complaint. The actor was born in a village in South Africa.
Begin, began, begun.
The film they want to watch begins at 9.
It began to snow just as we were going out.
They had begun to work when the bell rang.
Bend, bent, bent.
The river bends beyond that house.
The rising wind bent the long grass. He have bent my glasses.
Bet, bet, bet.
I bet that he will not go. Jack bet a lot of money on that horse.
David has bet $20 that he can eat that bug alive.
Bid, bid, bid.
He knew he couldn't afford it, so he didn't bid. At the auction, George bid $30,000 for the car.
David has bid the highest price for the car at the auction so far.
Bind, bound, bound.
You can use this ribbon to bind the books.
Floating bundles of logs bound together with ropes.
A strong culture has bound the Japanese people together.
Bite, bit, bitten.
Did you bite this apple?
An insect bit me on the arm.
My arm was bitten by an insect.
Bleed, bled, bled.
He was bleeding heavily. The injured bird bled to death on the roof. John could have bled to death if he had not arrived to the hospital.
Blow, blew, blown.
A cold wind began to blow.
Jane took a deep breath, and blew.
The blast had blown the windows out of the van.
breed, bread, bread,
He has a ranch in Arizona where he breeds his horses.
This dog was traditionally bred for protection.
These horses are bred for this sport.
break, broke, broken,
You better be careful, otherwise you will break the vase.
The rope broke with a loud snap.
I can't use our refrigerator because it is broken.
bring, brought, brought,
We bring you the finest brands.
She brought Luke home from the hospital. They drank all the Coke we had brought for the party.
broadcast, broadcast, broadcast,
This channel always broadcasts the local sports.
The announcement was broadcast live.
Discovery Channel has broadcast a new documentary.
build, built, built,
They will build a new school in our town.
The factory was built in 1936.
More hotels are built in this region.
burn, burnt, burnt,
I exercise every day to burn my calories.
He was badly burned in the blaze.
This building was burned to ashes by vandals.
burst, burst, burst,
She hated when balloons burst. We inflated dozens of balloons and only one burst. She started to cry because her balloon had burst.
buy, bought, bought,
I have been saving some money to buy a new computer.
I bought a new computer. He told his grandson that he had bought a new bicycle for him.
cast, cast, cast,
The moon cast a pale light over the cottages.
David cast a stone far out into the lake.
All eyes were cast upon the speaker.
catch, caught, caught,
I have to go now, I have a bus to catch.
John caught the plane at 9 o'clock that morning.
This fish were caught in Mississippi River.
choose, chose, chosen,
Which book did you choose at the library?
The director chose Mary to be the new production manager.
I have chosen a present for my mother.
cling, clung, clung,
Wet paper clings to glass. The child clung to his mother. The girls were clung to each other in the dark.
come, came, come,
Will you come here, please? The children came reluctantly when I insisted. How many people have come until now?
Cost, cost, cost.
It costs a lot to buy a house in New York. Participating in the strike cost me my job.
It has cost a fortune to buy that car.
Creep, crept, crept.
I saw a crocodile creeping along the road.
The spider crept up the wall.
The car crept up the hill.
Cut, cut, cut.
This knife cuts very well. James cut his fingers with a knife when he was cooking.
I have cut my hand with that knife.
Deal, dealt, dealt.
If that was all, he could deal with that, King said. The conversations all dealt with public questions. Detective James dealt with very dangerous criminals.
Dig,
Dug. Dug.
I will dig my garden tomorrow. The dog dug all the garden but couldn't find its bone. The tunnel was dug with the aid of heavy machinery.
Dive. Never dived. Dived.
These people dive for pearls as a means of living. He ran to the pool, dived in, and swam to the other side. Jack dived off the bridge into the river. Do. Did. Done. They are free to do as they please.
Why did you do that?
She has already done his homework.
draw, drew, drawn.
I can't paint, but I can draw.
The concert drew a large audience.
A car drawn by two horses.
Dream, dreamt, dreamt.
I often dream about flying. She never dreamed that one day he would become president. I dreamt about you last night.
Drink, drank, drunk.
I like to drink Coke.
He drank 3 glasses of water.
I have already drunk too much Coke.
Drive, drove, driven.
I'm learning to drive.
I drove my son to school. The bus driver has driven the whole night.
Dwell, dwelt, dwelt.
My family used to dwell in a cottage beyond the river. She dwelt in remote parts of Africa for many years.
I dwelt in this old house for a long time.
Eat, ate, eaten.
We leave at 6 o'clock.
I already ate too much.
A forest eaten by fire.
Fall, fell, fallen.
Her hair falls to her shoulders. He fell badly and broke his leg. Darkness had fallen by the time we got back to the camp.
Feed. Fed. Fed.
Let's feed the kids first and go to the movie after.
This land has fed 10 generations.
The farmer fed the horses before going out to the field.
Feel. Felt. Felt.
How does it feel to be rich?
She felt someone touch her shoulder. The whole region felt the storm.
Fight. Fought. Fought.
It was ridiculous to fight with him this way.
England fought Germany.
He fought bravely against despair.
Find. Found. Found.
I couldn't find his phone number.
She was found unconscious.
At last I found my glasses.
Fit. Fit. Fit.
Those jeans still fit me. The dress fitted her perfectly. He fitted the picture into the frame.
Flee. Fled. Fled.
He was forced to flee the country. She fled the room in tears. They fled to the US when the war broke out.
Fling. Flung. Flung.
Don't fling your overcoat onto the sofa.
She flung her arms around his neck. She flung herself angrily from the room.
Fly. Flew. Flown.
The bird couldn't fly because it had a broken wing. As soon as it saw us, the bird flew away. She has flown to New York a number of times.
Forbid. Forbade. Forbidden.
Environmental laws forbid alteration of the coast. The teacher forbade the pupils to leave the garden.
Smoking is forbidden in the cinema.
Forget. Forgot. Forgotten.
I didn't forget anything.
I forgot my wallet.
He'd completely forgotten about their quarrel.
Forgive. Forgave. Forgiven.
Please forgive me for my mistake. Jane never forgave her mother for lying to her. I have forgiven you, she said.
Forsake. Forsook. Forsaken.
He would never forsake her. That man forsook his family and went to live abroad. She has forsaken her country for an island in the South Pacific.
Freeze. Froze. Frozen.
Water freezes to ice at a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius.
A climber froze to death on the mountain.
The ground had frozen hard.
Get. Got. Got.
I don't know how to get to the airport from here. I got the impression that she wasn't happy. I got a phone call from her last night.
Give. Gave. Given.
Will you give this letter to your father, please?
They never gave me a chance.
Hillary had given Joshua no encouragement.
Go. Went. Gone.
We don't go to the cinema very often these days. I went to New York last summer. I've never gone skiing.
Grow. Grew. Grown.
Children grow so quickly. Sharing our experiences, we grew braver. He has grown 4 centimeters this year.
Hang. Hung. Hung.
Well, hang in there. The keys hung on the wall beside the door.
A heavy gold necklace hung around her neck.
Have. Had. Had.
They have a beautiful home. At least she had the decency to apologize. We had a short walk after lunch.
Hear. Heard. Heard.
She spoke so quietly that I could barely hear her.
She heard a noise outside.
Have you heard the news?
Hide. Hid. Hidden.
Amanda tried to hide her surprise. He hid the money in the house.
They were hidden down there.
Hit. Hit. Hit.
Try to hit the middle of the target. He hit her thumb with the hammer.
One journalist was hit in the leg by a stray bullet.
Hold. Held. Held.
You have to hold my hand when we cross the road. The little girl held her mother's hand. I held the door open for him.
Hurt. Hurt. Hurt.
Tell me where it hurts.
The horseman hurt his back while taming a wild horse. I've hurt my arm, he said timidly.
Keep. Kept. Kept.
Keep your rifles ready and stay close to each other.
She kept her eyes on the floor as she walked by him.
I've kept a diary for 12 years now.
Kneel. Knelt. Knelt.
Many people kneel to pray.
They knelt down and prayed. He knelt down beside the child.
Knit. Knit. Knit.
I will knit something new.
They knitted socks for the soldiers. She has knitted many sweaters using a machine.
Know. Knew. Known.
I don't know if that's the reason. Alex knew very well what he wanted.
I should have known you would feel this way.
Lay. Laid. Laid.
Flamingos lay only one egg.
She laid the baby on the bed.
He laid aside his book and went to answer the phone.
Learn. Learnt. Learnt.
They learn English at school.
A year later he learned to speak English.
She has learned to adapt to the changes quickly.
Lead. Led. Led.
I've asked Adam to lead the discussion. The hostess led us to our table. This information led the police to a house near the harbor.
Leave. Left. Left.
The bus leaves in 10 minutes.
He left New York on June 9th. Hey, you have left your keys on the table.
Lend. Lent. Lent.
The bank agreed to lend him $10,000. I lent him a novel but he hasn't returned it yet. I lent my bike to my friend yesterday.
Let. Let. Let.
She decided to let her hair grow long. She let the subject drop.
Her parents let her go to the party.
Light. Lit. Lit.
I'll light you down to the gate. Alan gathered sticks and lit a fire.
The stage had been lit with candles.
Lose. Lost. Lost.
I don't want to lose you again. She couldn't eat and began to lose weight. I have lost my appetite.
Make. Made. Made.
Do you want me to make some coffee? He made a chocolate cake. Alan Taylor made some great movies.
Mean. Meant. Meant.
Lower costs mean lower prices.
She hadn't meant to hurt him.
These batteries are meant to last for a year.
Meet. Met. Met.
Would you like to meet my brother? A week later I met him in the street. Guess who I met in town today?
Offset. Offset. Offset.
I'll offset the time difference locally. The little time gained was offset by the anger it aroused. The costs have been offset by savings in other areas.
Pay. Paid. Paid.
How much did you pay for the tickets?
I paid the electric and water bill this week.
He paid me for my work.
Put. Put. Put.
He puts his name in all his books. He put his bag on the table.
She put her hands over her eyes.
Quit, quit, quit.
Press Q to quit the program. She quit what she was doing to help me paint the house. She quit her job in a pizza restaurant.
Read, read, read.
Your handwriting is so untidy I can't read it. He read the poem slowly. It's the best novel I've ever read.
Ride, rode, ridden.
I ride to work on my bicycle.
He rode the child about on his back.
Anyway, I've never ridden a horse before.
Ring, ring, rung.
She heard the phone ring and followed the sound. I rang her this morning.
The bells of the churches were rung as they passed.
Rise, rose, risen.
Taxes will rise, and social programs will grow. The balloon rose gently, up, into the air. The bed of the river have risen at least 5 meters.
Run, ran, run.
I can run a mile in 3 minutes. The dog ran across the road. We have run the computer program, but nothing happens.
Say, said, said.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Thank you, he said.
She said goodbye to all her friends and left.
See, saw, seen.
I don't see much difference.
Her friends saw her home. I haven't seen him around in the last few weeks.
Seek, sought, sought.
It's his job to seek out new customers. They sought to reassure the public. She sought help from the police.
Sell, sold, sold.
He said that he will sell his car. I sold my car to him for $6,000. Their last album sold over 100,000 copies.
Send, sent, sent.
We will send it by post.
They sent her flowers for her birthday.
The president sent troops to Asia.
Set, set, set.
I will set you free, she said. He set a vase on the table. We set a supervisor over the new workers.
Sew, sewed, sewn.
My grandmother taught me to sew. She wore what her mother sewed for her. The muscle layer needs to be sewn first.
Shake, shook, shaken.
Let's shake and be friends again.
We shook the tree. The whole city was shaken by the earthquake.
shed, shed, shed.
The trees shed their leaves in autumn. He shed a few tears at his daughter's wedding.
A lorry had shed gravel across the road.
Shine, shone, shone.
The sun is shining, so let's go to the beach. His eyes shone with delight.
The sun shone all afternoon.
Shoot, shot, shot.
In these woods it is forbidden to shoot animals.
We shot 2 reels of film in China.
He was shot 2 times in the foot.
Show, showed, shown.
She began to show signs of recovery.
His experiment showed the falsity of the theory.
On this map, urban areas are shown in yellow.
Shrink, shrank, shrunk.
This cloth will not shrink if washed in lukewarm water.
She shrank away from him, covering her face. The workforce has shrunk to less than 1,000.
Shut, shut, shut.
Shut the window, please.
We shut the shop for lunch.
She shut her book.
Sing, sang, sung.
The birds were singing in the trees.
She sang her baby to sleep every night.
They sang their sweetest songs.
Sink, sank, sunk.
This pledge could sink the government. Enemy aircraft sank 2 battleships. Student numbers have sunk considerably.
Sit, sat, sat.
I can't just sit here and do nothing while she is suffering. I sat next to him at dinner.
The child's mother sat her down on a chair.
Slay, slew, slain.
Your jokes slay me.
That man slew the dragon. A man was slain with a shotgun.
Sleep, slept, slept.
I couldn't sleep because of all the noise next door. She slept for half an hour. I went to bed early and slept like a log.
Slide, slid, slid.
Interest rates are beginning to slide.
I slid down the hill.
The dollar slid against other major currencies.
Sling, slung, slung.
Don't sling your bag on the floor. He had his jacket slung over one shoulder.
A hammock was slung between 2 trees.
Sneak, snuck, snuck.
I noticed him sneak a look at what I was writing.
I sneaked out by the back exit.
He sneaked the gun into his pocket.
Speak, spoke, spoken.
He speaks fluent English.
He opened the door and spoke quietly to someone. We hadn't spoken in several weeks.
Speed, sped, sped.
According to the doctor, these pills will speed his recovery.
I got into the car and home we sped.
The taxi speeded us to the train station.
Spell, spelt, spelt.
The letters spell the word how? She spelled her name.
She spelt most words wrong.
Spend, spent, spent.
How much did you spend?
We spent a fortune when we were in New York.
The firm has spent $100,000 on hardware and software.
Spin, spun, spun.
The earth spins on its axis.
The girl spun around in alarm. A spider spun a web in the corner of the room.
Spit, spat, spat.
Don't spit chewing gum onto the street.
She spat the meat out in disgust.
She spit it out and wiped her mouth.
Split, split, split.
It is an issue which could split the party.
The teacher split the children up into 4 groups.
The prize was split between Susan and Mary.
Spread, spread, spread.
Margarine spreads easily.
The fire spread very rapidly.
Slowly a smile spread across his face.
Stand, stood, stood.
Stand still and be quiet.
She stood in the doorway. The town stood on a hill.
Steal, stole, stolen.
I saw a thief stealing that lady's purse.
Thieves stole her bicycle.
The number of cars which are stolen every year has risen.
Stick, stuck, stuck.
I tried to stick the pieces together with some glue. She stuck her fork into the sausage. A message was stuck to his computer screen.
Sting, stung, stung.
Do all types of bees sting? He was stung by a scorpion.
I got stung by a wasp yesterday.
Stride, strode.
Stridden.
She came striding down the garden path. He strode into the room.
He strode across the road.
Strike, struck, stricken.
He raised his hand, as if to strike me. An earthquake struck the island. The teacher actually struck and hurt Mary.
String, strung, strung.
The ideas string together coherently.
Lights were strung across the promenade. A necklace of wooden beads strung on a silver chain.
Swear, swore, sworn.
I don't know anything about what happened, I swear. Peter swore that he would keep his promise.
He is sworn to protect our world.
Sweat, sweat, sweat.
The children were sweating with fear.
They sweated to get the room ready for the dance. He has sweated a lot over the project.
Sweep, swept, swept.
The new broom sweeps well.
He swept the ashes from the fireplace. A large wave swept away the sandcastle.
Swell, swelled, swelled.
Excessive moisture will cause the wood to swell.
The curtains swelled in the breeze. His legs swelled where the bee had stung him.
Swim, swam, swum.
He used to swim for his country when he was younger. They swam ashore.
I've swum to the island every day.
Swing, swung, swung.
It would take time, but I think I could swing it. He swung his fist towards James' face. He swung her bag up onto the rack.
Take, took, taken.
Did you take your book from her?
They took blood specimen for analysis.
All her possessions had been taken from her.
Teach, taught, taught.
He will teach me how to fix the machine. She taught him to read.
He has taught English for many years.
Tear, tour, torn.
These papers tear very easily.
I tore up the letter.
The student has torn a sheet of paper from his notebook.
Tell, told, told.
She knows who did it, but she won't tell.
I told her you were coming.
Have I told you that John is getting married?
Think, thought, thought.
Think carefully before you begin. She thought that nothing would be the same again.
She thought about cutting her hair.
Throw, threw, thrown.
Simon, throw me the ball please.
I threw a brick through the window.
The rider was thrown as the horse jumped the fence.
Understand, understood, understood.
He didn't understand a word I said. He understood his suggestion as a complaint. His sense of humor wasn't well understood by many.
Wake, woke, woken.
I have to wake up very early tomorrow. When she woke again, the room was dark. We were woken in the night by the gunshot.
Wear, wore, worn.
He wears glasses for reading. She wore an elegant gray jacket. Hard-use has worn these gloves.
Wed, wed, wed.
Will you wed your daughter to him? The couple eventually wed after a 3-year engagement.
We wed in 2015.
Weep, wept, wept.
Tears fell down her face as she began to weep bitterly. She wept with joy when peace was announced. Silently, she buried her face in the pillow, and wept.
Wet, wet, wet.
Wet your hands before soaping them. He wetted the t-shirt and tried to rub the mark away. Her face wet with tears.
Withdraw, withdrew, withdrawn.
This bank card allows you to withdraw up to £500 a day.
Slowly she withdrew her hand from his.
The UN has withdrawn its troops from the country.
Win, won, won.
I will win the race, he said. There are hundreds of prizes to be won. This is the 4th medal he has won this season.
Wind. Wound. Wound.
I forgot how to wind the film on. She wound a scarf around her neck. The path wound among olive trees.
Weave, wove, woven.
It takes great skill to weave a basket from rushes. The yarn wove into a beautiful fabric. Linen was woven in the district.
Ring, rung, rung.
I'll wring his neck if he does that again. He wrung his hands. He wrung out the shirt and hung it out to dry.
Write, wrote, written.
Write your name on the board. He wrote his name on the paper.
This book was written by Adam Smith.
End of lesson. Hope this helps. CANHOCA